Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Thursday the 23rd of September. So firstly, let's just address the data, the US Fed meeting. Well, as pretty much expected, nothing was significantly changed there. The one thing that did come up, actually, let me just see if I've got it on here. Yep, let me just drag this in, was everything was left as was. The one thing that changed marginally, 2 votes changed from on the dot plot here for 2022. So it's becoming more expected that there will be an interest rate increase late 2022. In fact, if I can find it, it's not there. It's not there. Any of those. It's actually on a different one here. Let me just find it on here. Dot plot there we go. It's actually forecast at the moment. The big money is forecasting it in around about the 14th of this. I say 14th with the meeting at 14th of December. So December 22 looks like the potential interest rate increase, but a pretty dovish outlook over, or sign of things. Just everything just left and kicked the can down the road once again. Anyway. Today, of course, I've just hidden away the thing here, but today we've already had, let's get to where we are today. We have in a very short while we'll have the French services manufacturing data. These figures can actually give the euro a bit of a kicker. We've got the Swiss data coming out at 8:30, unlikely to do too much, but it's still there. But unless you're trading a Swissy, of course, and it can affect the euro. The German flash manufacturing services data, again, much more of a mover, and can create some volatility this morning. And the overall numbers, they tend to be quite soft at 9 o'clock, so it's really over and done with by just after 8:30. UK data coming out at 9:30. Then, of course, same manufacturing services, and we've got the US at 2:45. But in between that, we've got the Bank of England data coming out at the monetary policy summary and meeting. There's the votes and everything else we'll see there. As you can see here, there's one extra voter back in there, and that's going to be probably the key change. They've already announced what tapering they're going to do. There's little change expected with the Bank of England, so carry on as you were. It should be pretty much priced in, unless there's slightly higher inflation. If there's slightly higher inflation figures there and they start mentioning those, that might just give a bit of a hawkish tone, but pretty much priced in for this week. Okay, that's it. And then CAD retail sales may give the CAD a kicker later, but it's not had the biggest of moves lately on those. And as I said, the flash manufacturing services at 2:45. So that's it. Busy day in numbers. May get some movement from all of that, and we're getting some movement already. Let's have a look at the euro dollar and the Forex markets here. So we're just seeing it's air kissed, sort of bounced off the monthly S1 into a weekly S1 here as well, so there's a bit of confluence in terms of what's going on. Still got an untouched weekly pivot above, and I do wonder, and I did wonder yesterday at one stage when it started to move up, is it going to run into that? That would have been a nice point in terms of a short in my book coming from that, but at the moment it's drifting up. There are quite a lot of options sitting at 1745, 1745, 1770. Now, whether that will actually keep the euro below that, we'll have to wait and see. Sometimes these options, suddenly they become a magnet and the price heads towards it, and it seems to be doing just that at the moment. So it may be held pretty close to it as we run through the day this morning, particularly that 1745 area. So got a bit of a bullish bias in a sense from that. Potentially it is shoving up at the moment. Still got, well, we'll see what comes post 8 o'clock, but this is to say it's really caught a bit of momentum at the moment. Right, I'm erring obviously on more bullish side for now. The pound Of course, those numbers could completely destroy that. So don't, sorry, just going back to the euro there. Just bear that in mind. The pound yesterday, well, it was hunting for the bottoms there, fishing with the fishes. It's swimming with the fishes. I don't know what it is. The statement. But again, bouncing at the moment. The pound I've been sort of quite bearish on. Got one hell of a move running through on that news last night, and it's starting to push up quite well this morning. At the moment, quite bullish sort of bar. It's putting an outside bar, continuation bar into play at the moment, and it looks like, as I said, it's trying to get a bit more momentum to the upside there. Maybe pushing towards that 60-100. We'll see. It obviously can be quite slow moving towards the Bank of England meeting, so there is obviously risk, trade risk there. Yen really, well, yesterday ended up softening up. As everything else, well, I suppose it did actually sell off, and this has done the same to a degree, but it's still softening up now, not really moving too much. So it's back into its previous range there. Really is an ugly beast to be trying to do too much with it. I'm going to leave it there. I don't know why I clicked on it really, apart from you can't ignore it completely. Aussie dollar was looking quite likely that it was going to continue in its route, but it's hit 2. I don't know where the support really is sitting off of here. It's not the easiest. Oh, there we are. It's sitting off its weekly S1 now. The more it's sat on that S1, at some point, if it does come back a fourth time, I say a fourth time, it's many bars hit there, but it's got 3 clear sort of periods where it's been sitting there. A fourth time might see it break, but at the moment, catching the bounce and looking like it's got well, maybe a bit more bounce to be had. Let's have a look. High low coming through on the hourlies here. Maybe it's got a bit more towards that R1, and if you're trading the range, and that's what it's doing at the moment, the range it would be up to that sort of 72.82 area. So that's where we're sitting there. Aussie dollar, right? Canadian dollar strengthening slightly, has the last couple of 3 days. This would be the 3rd day. So yep, just sort of lower highs already put in actually on here on the 4 hourly, and looking like it wants it again. Just a bit of dollar selling generally across the board. Lower highs, lower lows. You can see it through here. It'll be, is it targeting back? Sorry, just going back towards the weekly pivot that sits below there, and the monthly pivot. Actually, a weekly pivot and the monthly pivot sits below. Let's just go back to the monthly pivot's been all over it. It's alright, just checking, because it makes it a bigger target if it's not being hit. But yeah, lower highs and continuation to the downside looks quite possible there really. Okay, euro yen, if I can get it on there. Has it got anything prettier? Also catching the bounce. It's done the double bottom. You're seeing these quite a few double bottoms coming in. The bounce is more clearly on its way here, and maybe that weekly pivot looks a little bit more likely to happen at this stage, but it has nearly double topped here. It would be buying near the top, which is not my favorite thing here. It's not a clear breakout. I think it's probably worth being a bit patient on there, but it's certainly giving the potential that we'll see further upside, maybe a break and a pullback, and buying on that basis. But the euro yen does look, as I say, a bit more positive. Right, let's have a look at gold and the commodities here. Gold sold off into last night, and it's seeing that through at the moment. This little blue area here, it just seemed to have previously spent so many points around that. It was a sort of a line in the sand, and it seems to be the sort of area where gold has been sitting. It may need to be broadened a little, but where gold seems to be sitting at the moment. It's looking to me with a lower high that's, well, actually it didn't put a lower high because it spiked through, but this price action still looks, let's just have a look, a bit of soft divergence across the highs there, but it just looks weak at the moment. Oil, could do with oil looking weak judging by the price at the petrol pumps, but oil is kicking up, and I was mentioning it yesterday about the price above this area here, above its weekly pivot, would be bullish, and sure enough it's running in that sort of bullish tone again. Bit of a retrace this morning, but again for me this is a market that's traded later in the afternoon. You see the 2 o'clock kick it got yesterday. That's where the move came from. Yes, it gave it back but danced around a little bit, but that's where the move, really the breakout of this sort of consolidation came, and that's where we tend to see bigger moves on Western Texas. So maybe patience, wait for it. It's got a daily pivot untouched at the moment below. That might be a draw through the morning, but would be looking for the upside this afternoon. Right, let's switch on to, actually let's have a look at the S&Ps on here, the futures. What time is it? 8:02. Good, we can do that. So I'm just checking for the cash markets. S&Ps, let's just go back a step. Right, to dailies here. Yesterday saw a bit of a recovery, a bit of cheer. The more that interest rates are held down, the more that traders prefer to see that, because it means money runs towards stocks as opposed to anything else, and this is pushing up pretty well, bouncing back from that move yesterday. It's still got a weekly pivot untouched. That's a draw as well. With all of this morning, they're all sort of having had a decent move. It's whether or not that it will continue through the London or European session, whether we'll see more movement up, or whether we'll just get more stalling and a push later, or even a sell-off later. We'll see. But for now, there's a bit more cheer through the markets. I'll talk about Evergrande in a second. But for now, as I say, high low coming through on this 4-hourly basis, and it's looking marginally more bullish to start the day at least. Right, let's look at the other markets then, in the other indices. This one, and clicking across. I'm looking at the Hong Kong market. The Japan had a holiday, so the Nikkei was closed. But we see a little upward movement. I will just look at the Nikkei because I wanted to point out something. But a little gap up there. In fact, Evergrande shares were actually moved higher, believe it or not, on the open yesterday. And talking of Evergrande, they've now got 30 days to pay their basically offshore coupon debt. The 83.5 million they've got 30 days to do that, so they'll probably be doing their best. They've sort of defaulted on it, but they've still got 30 days, so it's not a genuine default until that as it's actually registered. They've got 30-day grace in its 30-day, and after that it's classed as defaulted. So for now they're okay and hanging in there. It's pretty widely believed that a lot of people have already written it off basically, and they expect it not to see their money back. But we'll see. See what happens. Now, I was asked about the Nikkei and an island reversal. Very quick question. Island reversal is when you've got the gap on the up here. In fact, we had a couple of gaps on there. This was a exhaustive reversal gap at the top there, arguably, and it's left this little island of price action and then gap down. So there's the island reversal. Gaps generally get filled, so all of these gaps that will sort of sit into the markets, they get filled at some time or another is the theory, and it's normally quite good, quite a reasonable theory, so that even the gaps on the way down may get filled on the way back there. I was asked, does that mean it's all over now? Well, not necessarily. It's still gaps below, and that market may come down for that. Right, let's have a look at the UK markets then. Positiveness through here. and it's going to continue to shove up there. I don't think there's any risk of any changes to the Bank of England, as I mentioned earlier on, and that's good for the equity market there. Looking at the US market, if I can get the DAX, there we go. Also, actually a little gap up there on the continuous futures. It's a bit odd, but anyway, there we are. It's pushed up there, and the CAC. Oops, let's get the continuous one. There we go. Also pushing back up there, looking a lot more positive than it had been. In fact, if these carry on like this, they might be charging back for those prior highs. It's done an ABC correction, arguably, and it may be back in. We might be seeing something that's running back into trend. This is basically just come in. The S&P's back here. It's just come back to its 100 moving average. It's done its ABC. Perhaps it's back into that bigger trend. Now we've got the central, or at least one of the central banks out of the way. Right, that's it. Let's just have a look at crypto. There's not much to add here because these are on the up, just marginally, just slowly. I wasn't too sure yesterday what's going to happen, but there's still not away from it yet. Again, there's still lower highs still in there, so the change of the market overall hasn't changed. The near-term market has not changed. It's still erring on that more bearish angle, but there are buyers coming in, not necessarily as quick as they were yesterday, but we'll see if that continues throughout today. But with a slightly softer US dollar, will certainly help these markets pushing up. So all three of them, four of them, there you go, pop the other one in there, most traded, they're all doing pretty well there at the moment. Short term, but still in to me as a minor bearish point. Streak. Right, that's it. I will leave you to it. I'm going to wish you a great day's trading, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye for now.